Well, obviously, frustrated and disappointed with the dynamics of the game. You know, for such a simple moment, we get confused, miscommunication, and they get a goal out of nothing, really. And I didn't think second half we ever looked in too much trouble, to be honest. Without looking an amazing threat ourselves, but we find a goal, and I'm pleased with that because it's an ugly goal. I spoke to the group, it can't always be a perfect goal. It has to sometimes be a fight scene or a toe or a knee or whatever you need to do, which we did. And we should go away with a point, quite obviously, but we can't make mistakes like that. I don't think it was helpful during the game. How we don't get a penalty for Calvert-Lewin's foul, I mean, I think that's what VAR is meant to do. I don't know, I think we're all a bit... we're all scratching our heads about VAR this season. I don't know how it's got into seemingly the situation it's got into, but it can't just be me. I think everyone's talking about it. So well, why is that not a penalty and that one is? I think we've seen enough this season. We've seen, seen people give a penalty and they say, well, there was contact, and it's literally like a boot end on a boot end, and you think, how's that real contact? But that is actually contact, a proper kick in the shins. How's that not given them? So they'll give me some weird interpretation of it, I'm sure.
How did you feel for Coleman? Obviously, it's unlucky for him to come back.
Yeah, he's right on the last moment of a cross, and the miscommunication is before that, and no one deals with it, and that sometimes happens, but you don't want it to happen. But weirdly, I said to the group, I said, look, sometimes you get that feeling when things are not going your way, that things like that happen. But I said, we've got to push that away. That's only us that can change it. I can change it. The team can change it. That's an error of judgment. And I said, we've got to change that because not so long ago we weren't making them errors. So it just sometimes feels like it's compounded because you're not winning games. If we've been winning games, you brush it away. But when you're not winning games, it feels bigger than what it actually is.
That's what I was going to ask actually, because from your tenure you've been characterised by the resilience that you built into the team that you inherited. But over recent weeks, the team have lost big moments, some through bad decisions.
Yeah, I mean, the details in both boxes, if you remember last season when I first got here, I said that's where the game's at. We all debate the middle of the pitch, but the actual detail in both boxes is where the real stuff happens. And not so long ago, we got on the right side of that. Won 4 out of 5, and everyone was raving about the fact that we were defending that end and scoring that end. And then suddenly it just started to slip a little bit, and then it sort of gets in the psyche a little bit, and then the noise changes, and then we've got to deal with that. That's life as a professional footballer. I've been through it a lot myself as a manager. 300 odd Premier League games has taught me that, and games in the Championship. So can't rely on anyone else other than ourselves, that's for sure.
In the past, when you have had those moments with sides, how have you changed it, and how do you think this?
Well, you need all the things that didn't happen today. You need a referee's decision, which is out of your hands, but you still need them. You need a performance, semi-performance today, I thought. They've made this a bit awkward again down here because they've had a good run and they've changed the psyche themselves, don't forget. Sometimes you need a lucky one, sometimes you need a moment, and sometimes, usually, you've got to perform. I don't think we're a million miles away from performances, but we can't make errors like that. I mean, that's quite obvious. It's that's really disappointing. Disappointing for the players as well, not just for me, because there's no lack of effort, there's no lack of commitment to what we're trying to achieve. But the true moments in both boxes, then that's what's really got to change.
And just finally for me, was Amadou and Arlo okay when he came up?
Yeah, I think they're minor things. I mean, I'll find out more. We're in tomorrow, so I'll find out more. But I don't think they're too serious.
Thank you.
Sean, do you feel like today was a missed opportunity to actually put a bit of a gap between the relegations?
No, it's not that easy. Premier League's difficult. Wherever you go in the Premier League, you don't get an easy ride. And like I say, they had that amazing run, then they drop down again, but they've had a good little run again, then pop back up. So there's no gimmies in the Premier League. So I don't take anything for granted. Whoever we play, I don't take football for granted, to be honest. So no, there's no gimmies. Still a tough place to come. Overall, we gave out half-decent performances. We're not as great as we can be because there's times we've been really strong and really fluid and delivered very strong performances. But you've got to remember, everyone talks about when we have these international, you can work with the team. I can't, because 5 of them are away. So how do you work with them when they're not there? They come back they played on Tuesday. Thursday you have to do a light session, you haven't really got time. Friday we do some work, then we have to fly down here. So, you haven't had that time. So that being considered, I go, yeah, okay, that performance has got energy, it's got commitment. There's moments where we could have done better. And that's one of the things. So I'm just frustrated with it because to end the run, we've got to do it. We can't. I think the referee's decisions were not right, but you can't rely on that every week. We've got to rely on ourselves.
Are you positive you all have enough to stay?
Yeah, without a shadow of a doubt. I mean, the question mark's been over this club for 2.5, 3 seasons now. So it's not new territory. It's not new territory for me, and I've only been here just over a year. So that comes with what the badge is. But we've come through that before, and I believe in the players, I believe in myself, without a shadow of a doubt, that we'll change that. But you can't do things like that. You can't make errors like that, because that's obviously not helpful. When you're in a game, you've just got back into it, you're seeing the game through, and then you don't see it through. That's obviously not helpful.
Sure. How much of your role between now and the end of the season is going to be a psychological management role?
It's more or less that anyway now. Management, it's not. Everyone thinks it's about 4-3-3 and all that. Trust me, the game's changed radically. I've been doing this, 12, 13 years now. The game's changed radically as management. It's nowhere near like that anymore. It's part of your role now. It's soft psychologist, not a trained psychologist, but you're kind of a psychologist from years of doing what you do. Been in football all my life. You learn, to push and pull and work with the players and find it. Today, there's no point in me going mad at them, because it's a mistake. It just feels worse because it's a mistake at the end of the game and we're on a tough run. It just feels worse. But if you take that away, you go, well, there's no point in that. You're not going to gain anything. You've got to go again on Tuesday. They're frustrated as well, by the way. There's no lack of honesty in this group. They're frustrated, very frustrated. So they're the things we've got to correct.
Hi. Sean, you mentioned the drop-off from December in results to now. What do you think has changed? Why do you think they have slipped to this extent?
Well, it creeps away. The Premier League's a funny thing. It creeps up on you. We're playing so well. We're winning games. It doesn't seem that long ago. We were actually probably the best performance that I've been at Tottenham, and yet we lost 2-1. I think most people would agree with that. And then, you have a soft one and you don't get a result. Then you have a couple of draws which you should win. Then you don't win. And then, do you know what I mean? And it just slightly starts changing. Like Brighton, we should see that through. We don't. And then it all just starts, and then the noise changes. And once the noise changes, it starts building. Particularly a club like Everton, it starts building quickly. So then you've got to deal with the noise, not just the performance. And it starts, to your point, it starts changing the psychology of the whole club and the players. And that's for me to guide us through it, and to them to play their part, of course. But I'm more than happy with the responsibility of it. That's your job. I've been in it for a long time now. That's it. It's easy when it's easy, It's comfortable when it's easy. What about when it's not? How are you dealing with them times?
Do you think that noise is having an impact on
It always does, one way or another, positive, negative, or the bit in between. It always does. We've had loads of them. Think about it. We've had the 10 points, then that's reduced, and it's probably everyone's still going, how did it only get reduced like that? Then there's another one coming, possible, we don't know yet. But all these things. But it's still just noise around the situation. I've been trying to get the players to see through that. As you well know, you're younger than me, the bombardment of social media and all that noise, it just keeps coming and coming. But that's part of a professional footballer's career now. That's part of my career. I know it's there. I don't worry about it because it's there. It's going to be a constant, good, bad, or indifferent. You can win games and you still get people saying you didn't do this, you didn't do that, you lose them. And there's lots of people saying you didn't do this and you didn't do that. That's part of what it is now. So controlling the controllables is the biggest thing for me.
Just going back to the winning goal for Bournemouth, what would you have liked to have seen the team do better in that moment?
Well, everything. It's that. What do you want to say? We could stop we don't have to give the first one away. Then we don't react to it quick enough, even though it's just a cross into the box. We don't react quick enough to stop it. Because of the box, we miscommunicate. Could we head out? Yes. Could we come out for the line? Yes. But all them things at the moment in time collide in a bad moment, and it causes trouble. Then things that normally we wouldn't even be talking about it. But now and again, over a season, things like that occur, and as if by weird the psyche of football, it always seems to be when you're having a tough time. It's very rare it seems to happen. That's all down to what you're saying, the psychology of it. But it's very difficult to control everyone's psychology at once, and to have them all online with every detail of a 96-minute football match.
You brought Dominic back in for Beto today. What have you seen from him?
Yeah, I thought he played well. I thought he was handful. He looked stronger. He's playing stronger. Beto looked handful when he came on. Andre's going to get fitter. I like what he's trying to do for us. Ben stuck at it at left back because of Miko. He was ill, by the way. It's not an injury. You might know that, but so he's likely to be through that over the weekend. It's one of them. You're defining things that are the undefinable sometimes. So therefore, but that's still your job. Find a way. So that's what I'll be looking to do.
We'll move on now, guys, to preview